Hello everyone and welcome to this in-depth comparison of three of the most popular Linux distributions: Debian, Ubuntu and Fedora. Whether you are a developer, system administrator or a newcomer to Linux, choosing the right distribution can greatly impact your workflow. In this video, we will explore each distro's philosophy, release cadence, package management, desktop environments, hardware compatibility, community support, and ideal target audience. By the end, you will have a clear understanding of which distribution best suits your specific needs. Let's first start with the project philosophy and sponsorship. Debian, community driven and free software focus. Debian is entirely community driven and guided by its social contract. It strictly includes only free and open source software in its official repositories. Although non-free contributions and non-free sections are available if you need proprietary drivers or firmware. Its primary goal is stability and reliability, making it a top choice for servers, desktop needing rock-solid performance, and embedded devices. Now, about the sponsorship. Debian is not commercially backed. Instead, it is funded through donations and the Debian project leaders' oversight. This independence ensures that package inclusion decisions are made solely by volunteers and developers, without commercial pressures. Now, Ubuntu. Commercially backing by Canonical, with a focus on user-friendliness. Ubuntu is a Debian derivative, sponsored and maintained by Canonical Limited. It aims to deliver a polished, user-friendly experience for desktop and server users alike. While Ubuntu adheres to open source principles, Canonical incorporates proprietary drivers, example NVIDIA Broadcom, more seamlessly, making hardware setup smoother for newcomers. Ubuntu's commitment to ease of use is evident in its installer, software center, and snap package ecosystem, which simplifies application distribution and updates. LTS versus in-term releases. Ubuntu offers long-term support, which is LTS releases every 2 years, supported for 5 years. Ideal for users who require stability and infrequent upgrades. In between in-term, non-LTS releases appear every 6 months, with 9 months of support for those who prefer more recent software versions. Now, Fedora. Red Hat sponsorship and cutting-edge focus. Fedora is sponsored by Red Hat, now part of IBM. It serves as an upstream testing ground for features designated for Red Hat Enterprises Linux, which is RHEL. As such, Fedora often integrates the latest kernel, GNOME, systemd, and other open source technologies soon after they become available. Its mission is to showcase new innovations, encourage upstream contributions, and empower developers who want the bleeding edge while maintaining a cohesive, well-integrated distribution. Community and innovation. Although Red Hat funds Fedora, the project remains community-centric. Contributors propose, test, and integrate features collaboratively. Fedora's rapid release cycle, approximately every 6 months, ensures users have early access to new technologies. Now, release cadence and support lifecycle. So here is the screenshot of everything. Now, Debian. Debian's stable branch is released roughly every 2 years. Each stable release receives official support for about 3 years, after which the long-term support, which is LTS team, extends security updates for an additional 2 years, summing to around 5 years of security patches. New point releases within a stable cycle drop periodically for bug fixes and security patches. Users can perform in-place upgrades with minimal risk once the new stable version is declared. Ubuntu. Ubuntu's LTS version appear every 2 years. For example, 24.04 LTS Novel Nomate, released on April 25, 2024. Supported until April 2029. Interim releases are published every 6 months. For example, 24.10, 25.04, and supported for 9 months. This dual track schedule allows organizations to choose a stable environment, which is LTS, or more up-to-date software, which is interims. Upgrades from one LTS to the next are straightforward using Ubuntu's Update Manager. Fedora. Fedora maintains a 6-month release cycle, with each version supported until 1 month after the release. That's 2 versions ahead. That is around 13 months of total support. For example, Fedora 41, released October 2024, will reach end of life around November 2025. This frequent cadence ensures access to the latest packages, but requires more frequent upgrades to stay supported. Now, package management and software availability. First, the Debian, APT and deb packing. Debian uses the APT system atop, which is .deb packages. Its repositories include over 51,000 packages, rigorously tested for compatibility and stability. As a result, software versions in stable are often older but thoroughly vetted. Debian emphasis on free software means some proprietary or closed source applications may not be directly included. Instead, users enable the non-free repositories or install via external sources. Now, Ubuntu, APT, deb, and snap. Ubuntu inherits Debian's APT system and its vast deb repository, but also pushes snap packages, self-contained bundles that include dependencies, enabling easy installation of the latest software regardless of the host environment. While traditional PPAs and deb downloads still work, Snap provides automatic updates and sandboxing. This can be convenient, though some users criticize that Snap starts slightly slower than native packages. Now, Fedora, DNF and RPM packaging. Fedora uses DNF, Danified YAM, to manage RPM-based packages. DNF leverages the libsolve dependencies resolver, delivering fast and reliable installations. Fedora also ships with Flatpak by default, which lets you install sandboxed desktop applications across multiple distributions. Because Fedora strictly abides by free software guidelines. Many proprietary applications, example NVIDIA drivers, codecs, require enabling third-party repositories like RPM Fusion. Now, desktop environments and user experience. So here is the screenshot I made for you. Debian. The official Debian installer lets you choose from multiple desktops: GNOME, KDE Plasma, XFCE, LXQT, Mat, Cinnamon, and even lightweight window managers such as i3 or Fluxbox. The default live ISO often ships with the GNOME, but the net install installer allows selection at install time. Debian's installer is very flexible but less graphical than Ubuntu's. Seasoned users appreciate its customization, while beginners may find it slightly intimidating. Now, Ubuntu. Ubuntu's default environment is a customized GNOME shell with the Ubuntu dock on the left, offering a polished out-of-the-box experience. Ubuntu's installer, which is Ubiquity, is streamlined, guiding users through steps such as time zone, keyboard, and minimal versus full install. Official flavors. Example: Kubuntu, Subuntu, Lubuntu. Provide the same underlying system but different desktops, ensuring users can pick the one they prefer without manually installing a desktop environment. Now, Fedora. Fedora workstation defaults to factory vanilla GNOME without extensive canonical or Red Hat customization. Ideal for users wanting a pure upstream GNOME experience. Additionally, spins provide KDE Plasma, XFCE, LXQT, Matte, Cinnamon, and Budgie. Fedora Silverblue, an immutable variant, uses RPM OS tree to deliver atomic updates, ideal for container-based workflows, or for users who prefer rolling back problematic updates. Now, stability versus cutting edge. Debian, rock solid stability. The stable branch prioritizes rigorously testing over the newest versions. You might find GNOME 41 or Plasma 5.20, even though newer upstream releases exist. This approach minimizes regressions, making Debian a go-to for servers, mission-critical systems, or users who don't mind older software. Security-only backports. Debian backports security updates without introducing new features, further preserving stability. Now, Ubuntu. Balanced approach. Ubuntu strikes a middle ground. The LTS releases offer stability with newer desktop stacks. Example: 24.04 LTS using GNOME 46 and Linux kernel 6.8. Whereas interim releases, example 24.10, give you access to more recent software. Snaps and PPAs. For users who want the latest apps while running an LTS, Snap packages and PPAs fill the gap, albeit sometimes at the cost of performance or sandbox limitations. Now, Fedora. Bleeding edge. Fedora integrates the latest Linux kernel. Example, kernel 6.6 or later as of early 2025. GNOME 46, systemd 255+, and advanced file systems. This ensures you have immediate access to the newest features. Great for hardware enablement, example, newer GPU drivers, latest programming languages, and container tools. Shorter support window. Staying on the latest release requires upgrading every 6 to 12 months. While tools like DNF System Upgrade streamline this, some users find it too frequent. Now, hardware compatibility and performance. Debian. Debian's conservative package versions sometimes lag in supporting very new hardware out of the box. Example, bleeding edge Wi-Fi chipsets. To work around this, you can enable backports or non-free firmware repositories. Once set up, Debian's performance is efficient due to its lightweight defaults. For older machines, Debian's XFCE or LXQT spins offer snappy performance without hiccups. Now, Ubuntu. Ubuntu is known for excellent hardware detection, often automatically enabling proprietary graphics or Wi-Fi drivers. The generic kernel and hardware enablement, which is HWE stacks, in LTS releases improve support for recent hardware. Some users report Ubuntu feeling slightly heavier than Fedora, on new systems, partly due to canonical's modifications. Example, larger Snap Store tracking services. Now, Fedora. Because Fedora closely tracks upstream, it often includes the latest hardware drivers sooner than Debian or Ubuntu LTS. For example, Fedora 41 introduced improved support for AMD Ryzen 8000 series and Intel Meteor Lake integrated GPUs. On older hardware, Fedora's default, example, VLAN session, SELinux policies, might feel heavier. However, choosing a lightweight spin, for example XFCE or LXQT, remedies most performance concerns. Now, community, documentation, and ecosystem. Debian. Large, global community. Debian has hundreds of developers and thousands of volunteers worldwide. Its documentation, including the Debian Administrator's Handbook and Debian's Wiki, is comprehensive but sometimes assumes prior Linux knowledge. Forums and mailing lists. You'll find active mailing lists and forums, but response times can vary. Because Debian aims for stability over speed, new packages merge more slowly, and bug fixes may take longer to appear. Now Ubuntu. Canonical support and paid options. Ubuntu's community forums, Ask Ubuntu, which is Stack Exchange, and IRC channels are bustling with activity. Canonical also offers paid support and consulting services, making Ubuntu particularly appealing for enterprises. Extensive tutorials. Since Ubuntu targets beginners, a plethora of blog posts, video tutorials, and official documentations are available. Most tutorials are geared toward desktop usage, installing software, customizing the look, or troubleshooting common issues. Now, Fedora. Upstream collaboration. Because Fedora contributes changes upstream, its community discussion often revolve around future features, bug tracking, and testing. The Fedora Project Wiki, Fedora Magazine, and IRC or Matrix channels provide valuable resources. Innovation driven. Users who like to file bug reports, test alpha or beta releases, or contribute patches will find Fedora's collaborative culture rewarding. Now, ideal use cases and target audiences. So here is the table which I made for you. You can stop the video and read everything on your own. Debian. Ideal for servers, infrastructures, and embedded devices that demand rock-solid reliability. Its longevity and extensive repository make it a top choice for production environments. If you prefer a minimal base that you can tailor entirely yourself, Debian is hard to beat. Not recommended for absolute beginners unless they enjoy a hands-on approach and have patience to configure hardware firmware or enable backports manually. Now, Ubuntu. Perfect for desktop newcomers, workstations, and cloud servers. Ubuntu's balanced approach, especially LTS releases, ensures you have modern software without sacrificing stability. The Snap ecosystem simplifies application management, and Canonical's cloud partnerships make it a go for web hosting and enterprise cloud workloads. Ideal for students, small businesses, or any user seeking it just works with minimal tweaking. Now, Fedora. Best suited for Linux enthusiasts, developers, and open source contributors. who want to experiment with the latest kernels, toolchains, and desktop environments. Its integration with SELinux and container tech, which is Podman Builder, makes Fedora a developer's playground. Less suited for environments where frequent updates are problematic. Example, production servers without dedicated sysadmin resources. Unless you opt for Fedora's extended lifecycle support, which is ELS, or Silverblue variants. Now, strengths and trade-off. So here is the table which I made for you. You can pause the video and read everything and decide it on your own. Debian. Pros. Industry-leading stability. Huge repository weighted for compatibility. Completely open source by default. Now, cons. Potentially outdated desktop applications. Additionally, configuration needed for proprietary drivers or codecs. Installer is less guided for novices. Now, Ubuntu. Pros. Excellent hardware compatibility out of the box. GUI installer that walks you through each step. Vast ecosystem of PPS, tutorials, and specialized flavors. Now, cons. Snap's sandboxing can introduce slight performance overhead. Occasionally controversies around canonicals discussion. Example, periodically interface redesigns. Now, Fedora. Pros. Immediate access to bleeding-edge kernels, desktop stacks, and security improvements. SELinux-enabled by default, providing strong security posture. Strong culture of contributing back upstream. Now, cons. More frequent upgrades required. May be disruptive without discipline. Third-party repos, which is RPM Fusion, needed for many proprietary drivers or codecs. May feel less polished for absolute beginners compared to Ubuntu. Now, conclusion. Which one should you choose? Choose Debian if you prioritize stability and long-term support, and you enjoy configuring your system from the ground up, and you run mission-critical servers, IoT devices, or want a rock-solid desktop environment with minimal surprises. Choose Ubuntu if you are a beginner or simply want an out-of-the-box desktop experience, and you need commercial support or want direct integration with cloud providers, and you appreciate a balance between recent software and proven reliability, especially with the LTS channel. Choose Fedora if you are a developer, an open source contributor, or you need the latest kernels, GNOME features, and container tools, and you don't mind upgrading every 6 to 12 months to stay on supported releases. You value contributing upstream and want a closer relationship with cutting-edge Linux development. Ultimately, there is no universal best distribution, only the one that aligns with your goals. If you need the most stable server, go with Debian. If you prefer ease of use and enterprise compatibility, Ubuntu LTS is a solid choice. If you want innovative features and the latest tech, Fedora will excite you. I hope this comparison helps you decide which Linux path to follow. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments which distribution you prefer and why. If you have any questions, drop them below and I will be happy to help. That's it for the video. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace out.